Uprights Live. I'm here with Joe and Sammy. Ignore Sammy. My name is Matt, and we are reviewing this Week 9 slate, this Sunday slate that was filled with upsets, plus previewing both Sunday and Monday night football. But first, all those beautiful YouTube things that we love: like, comment, subscribe, share the stream with your friends, send us your questions in the chat, or just talk shit to us in the chat. Whatever you want to do in the chat, do it in the chat. We will respond, get back to you, and we will talk about it live. But fellas, again, Week 9, it has been a crazy day. So many upsets, so many underdogs covering the spread. So many things have gone on today, but we have to start with what was the game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs fall to 5-4 to the now 6-2 Buffalo Bills, as the Bills continue to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season year after year after year, and then lose to them in the playoffs year after year after year. But it's not the time to shit on the Buffalo Bills, because they just got a big Week 9 win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Fellas, what were your takeaways from this Chiefs and Bills matchup?
Do it again. Do it again. I'm tired. You want to know what my thoughts were coming into this game, guys? You want to know what my thoughts were?
Not really, but say them anyway.
I was thinking to myself, who cares? Because seriously, who cares? Like, I'm so like, and no other game I treat it like this. No other game. But if we're being blunt here, are we seriously, ladies and gentlemen, going to hold any kind of weight to this game, unless it means that, the Kansas City Chiefs, their playoff hopes are on the line or something, which they won't be. They'll be just fine. Guys, this is just another regular season game for the Chiefs and Bills. I bet they both came in. They're like, okay, let's get this win. Kansas City's like lost, and they're like, we'll be fine. We own them when it matters. Josh Allen is 4-1 against the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. You know what he is in the playoffs? 0-4. And that's the point. Why does this game even matter? A lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's different. It's different. Yeah, did you guys say that the other 4 times? There's another number 4. The number 4 in Buffalo means a lot. The 4 falls. Yeah, we remember that, guys. That was crazy. You know what's funny is that I could go on this rant, break down the game and how Mahomes wasn't that good, how Josh Allen proved he's the best QB in the league. But what's the point? These are things we know. Now I want to see it in the postseason. Buffalo, I'm picking you this year. I haven't picked you any other year. I'm picking you this year because this is supposed to be the year to do it. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't know about you, Matt. I don't know about you, Joe. But this game holds no weight to me. I don't care about the end result. If the Chiefs won, if the Bills won, didn't care. Now, there's some stuff that we could discuss, like the Bills defense actually looked pretty good. Maxwell Harrison, shout out to him. Cole Bishop, shout out to him. They were getting pressure without Ed Oliver. Shout out to the front 7 of the Bills. But will that happen when it matters? That's my only concern right now.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, right? Let's pump the brakes on this meaning anything, because Buffalo has had Kansas City's number in the regular season. Josh Allen's now 6-1 against Kansas City in the regular season. So are we surprised the Buffalo beat Kansas City? Not really. Are we surprised they did it in Buffalo? No. This seems to be, like you say, it's par for the course. They meet in the regular season, the Bills win. They meet in the postseason, we all know how that goes, right? We've all seen it before. So it doesn't really matter. But you are starting to see the losses pile up on Kansas City, which is concerning. To your point, I'm not saying their playoff hopes are dashed, but if you look at sort of the other teams they're contending with, right? The Chargers, they tie them. They own the tiebreaker, and the divisional record is better for LA. You look at the Jaguars right now, who have a similar record. They're 5-3 after their bye, and they just beat the Raiders. So, and they beat the Chiefs too. So they own the tiebreaker if they end up in a tie record right there for the final, for like one of those playoff seeds. So right now you look at the Chiefs and where they're sitting at, they're not in playoff contention, and they're obviously regressing a little bit in that stance. Do I think they make it? Absolutely. They're better than the Chargers are. They're better than the Jaguars are. But like you said, you look at the schedule, they still have the Broncos twice. They still have the Colts, who looked absolutely abysmal. We'll get into that later. Cowboys got a really good offense. It's in Dallas, right? We saw how the Cowboys, when they're on, they can go and just absolutely ball out as, Josh would say here, he's very upset that I dogged Prescott's MVP odds this week. Well, he's essentially the same thing that we saw from, Joe Burrow last year, right? Like Joe Burrow had a MVP caliber season, didn't win MVP because his team sucks. His defense was ass. There's a comment on the video that Josh is referencing there. Guess what? The comment is Dak Prescott and the Cowboys are this year's Bengals and Joe Burrow. Pencil it in. It's true. But they still have a good offense. You have the Texans who have a good defense on this still. They still face the Chargers again. So there's a lot of games where the Chiefs have to play above or like equal to or better than their opponent. And, a sub 50% completion percentage from Patrick Mahomes in a game that you need from him is not going to cut it.
No, it's not. And to your guys' point, I mean, it's hard to take too much away from this because, like you guys have mentioned, we see this every single year, and it's why I talked about it on our live on Friday. I was like, I have the Chiefs winning this game, but I probably shouldn't because Buffalo considerably owns them in the regular season. But when this game happens in the playoffs, because it's not a matter of if with these two teams meet in the playoffs, it's when. Like these two teams are going to meet in the playoffs at some point. Whether it's might be the wild card round this year based on how these two teams are kind of placed in their divisions right now. Because if there's one thing I am a little bit concerned about with Kansas City, like Sam, you mentioned, I'm not worried about them making the playoffs. I am a little bit concerned about their division hopes right now because Denver's sitting up there at 7-2, even though I'm not a huge believer in the Denver Broncos. And like you mentioned, Joe, the Chargers are 3-0 in that division, and they have the tiebreak over Kansas City right now. So I am a little bit more concerned as far as their division hopes. But when these two teams meet in the playoffs, I'm very, very concerned for the Buffalo Bills because Josh Allen drastically outplayed Patrick Mahomes in this game. Mahomes was sub 50% completion. Like you mentioned, Joe, 0 touchdowns and a pick. Josh Allen, 3 total touchdowns, no turnovers, had an 85+ completion percentage. And Patrick Mahomes still at the end of the game has an opportunity to tie the game. So it took all of that. It took Josh Allen drastically outplaying Mahomes for them to barely sneak by the Kansas City Chiefs in this football game. So yeah, there's not too many huge takeaways we can take away from this because again, we have to see it come playoff time. But it is a big win for the Buffalo Bills, definitely, to kind of keep pace in the AFC East because we saw the Patriots win another game today. They would have been in trouble if they didn't keep pace with the New England Patriots. But obviously, it was a big game, but like you guys mentioned, we got to be able to see it come playoff time, Buffalo Bills. We just have to. Like it's just where we're at this point. But fellas, a lot of other games so far today. There's been a lot of other football games that we've seen so far today. We might as well start with the next most recent one that we just saw finish up as well. Overtime game between the Jags and the Raiders. We saw a crazy ending to this one. We saw the Jags score a touchdown. Geno Smith finds Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, massive game, 12 grabs, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. Brock Bowers is back 100%, making a huge difference for that offense, but they could not get that game-winning 2-point conversion, and we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars move to 5-3, and the Raiders go to 2-6. Fellas, what did you take away from this game?
The Jaguars, realistically, I don't know, man. This game felt like either one of these teams wanted to win, like neither of them did, and there's another game we're going to talk about later where it felt like neither of the teams wanted to win. The Raiders, when they're healthy, you kind of see their capability. Geno is Geno, but he still had 284 yards and 4 touchdowns today. Not a bad game. The problem is that when you look at these teams, their issues are glaring. I'd say they're probably both start with what's under center, right? The amount of times that we have to watch Trevor Lawrence not put his receivers in positions to succeed. He's off target more often than he's not. It's just, they even point when you have announcers consistently pointing out that you're putting your guys in bad positions and they're not getting the yak or the yards after the catch you're looking for. It's a big problem. And Trevor Lawrence has had this problem for his entire career in the NFL, and it has never improved. It's almost like he refuses to improve it whatsoever, right? Like there was a pass to Bashal Tootin where Bashal had to completely contort his body to catch the ball, and by the time he got his feet back underneath him, he was tackled immediately. Like you're just talking about not timely throws, bad throws behind the receiver, and it continuously happens. On the flip side of that, you got Geno Smith, and Geno Smith is kind of regressing. We're seeing him come back down to earth quite a bit. And, they're obviously better with Brock Bowers out there, but then again, the Raiders are better when they have their best player on the field. Of course they are, right? Like, what kind of statement is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that works. I'm not really didn't take much away from this outside the fact that the Jaguars continue to win games, and they're probably at this pace going to end up as a playoff team. Just because, I mean, you look at their schedule, they get the Titans, the Jets, the Titans. So they'll have 3 games right there. They're probably winning. The rest of them are pretty tough. They got the Texans, the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Broncos, and then 2 games against the Colts. So they still have both games against the Colts. But then again, Indianapolis did not look like the world beater they had looked the first 7-8 weeks. They look beatable now, especially if you can turn them over 6 times. Jesus. But, they're probably going to end up as a playoff team, and they're going to be a first-round exit again, and it's just going to be another stepping stone to why Trevor Lawrence isn't the answer. So there's really nothing to take away from this game. These are 2 teams that are probably still going to be looking forward to the draft after the wild card weekend regardless.
We're in year 5 with Trevor Lawrence, man. Like, I don't get it. Liam Cohen came in, and I thought Liam Cohen was going to finally be the one to unlock Trevor Lawrence. So far, 9 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions, nothing special. He has a couple rushing touchdowns, but just nothing special. And Joe, I actually disagree with you. I don't think this team is going to make the playoffs. If there's anything that this game showed me, is that they can lose to any team. I would not be surprised if they lose to a team like the Titans. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to a team like the Jets. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop both games against the Colts. These would not surprise me. This would not surprise me. And look, I think today for the Raiders, we got what Geno Smith was supposed to be, ironically enough, for the fourth quarter, at least. The fourth quarter, he finally became what they expected. Unfortunately, it was too late. The Jaguars, to me, are just they're a confusing team because they beat the Chiefs a couple weeks ago, and yet you'd think that would be a major turning point, and it really hasn't. Like, they can compete with those teams, but they can also like play at the level of the Raiders, which tells me, okay, so they can lose to anybody, but they can beat anybody. But that might not be the case at all either. I mean, what if they just got lucky against the Chiefs? And they got bailed out against the Chiefs, and now we're seeing they got bailed out against the Raiders. By the way, Tyler Lockett wide open in the end zone. I mean, a batted ball away from being from losing that game. So for the Jaguars, I'm sorry. I'm not impressed with this win. I'm still waiting for the Trevor Lawrence breakout, and I'm going to continue to say this for as long as I'm breathing. Trevor Lawrence out of draft day was deemed generational. You're not going to make me forget that. Okay? You guys aren't. I remember that. Joe remembers that. Matt remembers that. We all remember he was a generational talent. I'm still waiting for the generational. I'm still waiting, guys.
Everybody is. Yeah.
Generationally mediocre.
Yeah, Jags. I think Jags fans more than anybody else have been waiting for the breakout for Trevor Lawrence. And I don't think he's a bad quarterback, but he's not a good one either. He's middle of the pack right now to me. He's somewhere in that 13 to 18 range as far as best quarterbacks in the NFL to me, and that's the wasteland. That's exactly where you don't want to be if you're an NFL team. You want to have one of the 10 best or one of the 10 worst, so you can either move forward and you have a franchise quarterback, or you got to move on. And Trevor Lawrence is exactly in that middle ground that you don't want to be as an NFL franchise. And like you mentioned, this pass offense looks terrible. It looks awful. Brian Thomas Jr. still doesn't look right. He's still out there dropping passes. Obviously, huge injury to Travis Hunter. He looked like he was starting to come on, especially in that last game against the Los Angeles Rams. It looked like he was having his breakout. Then non-contact knee injury in practice. Sure enough, he's out. And now this passing offense really doesn't look like it's going to get going. So yeah, obviously no real takeaways from the Raiders. They're just not a good football team. Obviously, Brock Bowers coming back is huge. Ashton Genty starting to look better. The offensive line's giving him a little bit more room to roam. But yeah, the big story is the Jags. They're 5-3. I don't believe in them whatsoever. But speaking of teams I do not believe in whatsoever, I'm going to speed right past the Rams and Saints game because we kind of already saw that one coming. That we knew the Rams are going to
talk about Tyler Shuck.
I mean, we can. Do you guys want to talk about Tyler Shuck? I mean, he looks solid.
No. We're moving on. What the heck are we doing here?
My takeaway from that, but real quick, my takeaway from that game was, I'm not going to shut up. I'm not talking about Tyler Shuck. Good Lord.
Jeez,
I was gonna say my takeaway from that game is Matthew Stafford's now the front runner from MVP, but you're over there bitching about how I'm going to talk about Tyler.
I don't want to talk about this game. We can talk about Matthew Stafford
I was going to
Tuesday.
speed by it.
Hey,
Good
I'm
Lord.
just saying, if you're calling a game
against
the Saints,
don't even acknowledge
the Saints.
It
Game against the Saints as now making you the front runner. That's the base form of stat padding, Matt.
You see what you did, Matt?
He was already putting up big numbers, and then he put even up more big numbers. And the other MVP candidates,
it's the New Orleans Saints.
Okay, you're just over there trying to justify Jonathan Taylor's bad performance because you said he was the league leader for MVP. But anyways, let's talk about Jonathan Taylor's performance because the Indianapolis Colts turned the football over 6 times and on the road to a mediocre Pittsburgh Steelers team. And when me and Sammy are justified, ladies and gentlemen, we have been redeemed. The Indianapolis Colts are fraudulent because, like I said, and it's one of the things that I talked about a lot. And Joe was over there like, oh, this guy, he's a hater. Blah, blah, blah. Daniel Jones still has that little bit of Daniel Jones. There's still just that tiny little bit of Daniel Jones that comes out every once in a while. And we saw it not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times. 3 picks and 2 fumbles today from Daniel Jones in an absolutely crushing loss from the Indianapolis Colts. Joe, explain yourself and your Super Bowl favorite Indianapolis Colts loss today.
Hey, everyone has a bad game, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, hey, whatever, buddy.
It's not like they lost to like the 0-6, whatever, right? Like they didn't lose the 1-6 Jets. They didn't lose the 2-5 Dolphins, right? Like they didn't lose to a team that's not good, right? They lost to a team that's currently leading their division, right? Granted, that division leading team has not played good defense at all this year, and suddenly they decided that this Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, at like noon, they were going to show up and start playing some football. That literally happened. The defense woke up today in Pittsburgh and said, you know what? Today's a good day to start actually playing some football, because they did. They dominated this game. And I have one big takeaway from this game, and it's, if you turn the ball over 6 times, what do you think you lost by?
Oh,
like 30?
That's a good point. Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, you figure you lost by 30. Like you got blown out. I mean, sure, they scored a late touchdown onside kick trying to make it a little tighter, but they were in this. They were playing terrible, and Pittsburgh beat them by 7. That's not. I think this says more about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And the fact that the only way they beat good teams is if the good teams beat themselves. This feels just like the Patriots Week 3 loss.
100% my thoughts on this. And I said it in the chat while the game was happening. I was like, this feels like the Patriots game, where it's like we're just giving you turnover after turnover after turnover. And, the Steelers took enough advantage of it to win. But the fact that you get 6 turnovers and you win a game by 7 points, that doesn't sound right. Like that just doesn't sound right to me. So again, like
41 total yards of offense. That's it.
Yeah, and I mean the Steelers defense does deserve credit. I talked about it on the live on Friday. I was like, the way they're going to beat the Indianapolis Colts is if they get after Daniel Jones. I didn't think it was going to happen because the Colts offensive line had been so dominant coming forward, but the Steelers defensive line, they got one of the best defensive lines in football with Alex Highsmith, obviously TJ Watt, Nick Herbig having an amazing season getting after the quarterback as far as win rate goes. He's the league leader in pass rush win rate, so he's having an amazing season. I just didn't think they were going to be able to get after this Colts offensive line, and they did. They were getting after Daniel Jones all day, and we saw that sad Daniel Jones face. We finally saw it. Like we haven't seen that sad Daniel Jones face in a long time, not since the days in New York, but we saw that Daniel Jones sad face today, and it's something that Colts fans do not want to see going forward, Sammy. They don't want to see that face ever again after what they saw today.
No, you don't. Indeed. Indiana Jones being sad means you're cooked, but like Joe said, this says more about the Colts, or about the Steelers rather, than about the Colts. Look, I as much as I want to stamp the fraud on their forehead, unfortunately, it's going to be a timid fraud watch, not a full fraud watch. Okay, very timid.
Pretty medium on the BTU meter right now.
Exactly. Yeah. A little bit like this. Now the Steelers fans are going to be flooding the comment section, and that's completely fine. I just have to say, if this is the only way you can win games, good luck. I mean, I guess you're gonna need 6 turnovers to beat a team by 7 points. God forbid. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny is that what is hilarious? What is hilarious? Okay, man. All right, bro.
Damn, Lawrence.
What the heck is why is okay? First of all, let's shift the conversation. I know everybody likes pounding on the Dolphins, just constantly, making fun of them. We actually had a great weekend. Okay, I love the
yeah. I was like, there's no way you're bringing Sammy down.
There's no way. Like I was like, there is a virgin apple cider in my fridge that's been waiting to be popped. Opening, of course, we wanted it to be for a Super Bowl, but Chris Greer being fired suffices. Now back to the Steelers. Look, the Steelers. This is not sustainable. Okay, your 2 wins against teams that are really good. You had to turn the ball over. You had to force a lot of turnovers. And I'm sorry, that's not going to happen against the likes of the the Bills, the Patriots. Again, not happening. And then against the Chiefs, not happening. Against the Broncos, not happening. Against these teams that are clearly better than you, not happening. I'm sorry. So, yeah, the Colts are going to be fine. Daniel Jones, hopefully this doesn't become a habit. If it becomes a habit, the fraud watch will be intensified severely, Matt, severely.
Yes, and we're gonna continue on this train of teams that are on fraud watch, and maybe this team that I'm about to talk about next isn't really on fraud watch, but they are on are they actually Super Bowl contenders watch? And that's the Green Bay Packers losing a game at home to the Carolina Panthers, where the Carolina Panthers scored 16 points, is absolutely unacceptable from this Green Bay Packers team. They're now 6-2-1. Obviously, the Panthers moved to 5-4 as well. By the way, Panthers kind of sneakily winning some ugly games here, and they have a solid record. I still don't think they're a great team, but they're winning some football games here in Carolina. But the story of this game is the Green Bay Packers. This is a team that after the first 2 weeks in the season, we thought this is the best team in football. They dominated the Lions. They dominated the Commanders, 2 teams that also haven't been looking great as of late, but still they dominated both of those teams, and we thought, man, this is the best defense in the NFL. If they just get competent offensive play, this could be the Super Bowl team, and they just haven't been consistent. There have been a ton of these games that we thought they're going to blow these teams out. We talked about it previously. The Cardinals without Kyler Murray. We thought they were going to blow out the Browns. We thought they were going to blow out some of these other mediocre teams, and it just hasn't happened. So, fellas, what is going on with the Green Bay Packers right now? What's going on with them?
I mean, look, let's check the red zone stats. I've been waiting to see this stat all game. 1 of 5. What the heck? What? That's a real stat. I'm reading this right now. 1 of 5 in the red zone. Yeah, you're not gonna win. I don't care against what team. If you can't punch it in when you're 5 trips, you can't punch it in. Sorry, I mean you're not winning that game. The story is Jordan Love in this offense. The stats are gonna say, oh, he had a solid game. Even though he didn't score a touchdown, they had 377 yards of total offense, right? So it doesn't look bad, but then you look at the points scored; it's only 13, and that's kind of sums up my problem with the Packers this year and why I think the Packers are slowly dwindling down my power ranking. I mean, they're just not a well executed offense. They just don't know how to execute. Jordan Love, I saw people put him in the top conversations he does not belong in. He's not top 10. He just isn't. And then on top of that, it doesn't help. Look, he doesn't have a receiver to really consistently throw to. And that's number 1. And number 2, Jordan Love is not that good to have no receivers that he can trust that you expect, except for, of course, Tucker Kraft. And I hope he gets home. I hope he feels better very soon. But the fact that he's not going to be out, I'm even more worried about this offense. This offense is going to, it's not going to tank because I think Matt LaFleur is a great play caller. I still think that to this day. The problem really is that this defense is just way too good for the offense to be almost lackluster. And I know they have talent on that. It's not like they have no talent on that offense. Where the heck is Matthew Golden? What the heck's been going on with him?
He got hurt.
He's hurt now. But even before that, Matt, what exactly was going on with him? Christian Watson. It feels like there's spurts of him blowing up, and then all of a sudden, nowhere to be seen. The offensive line inconsistent. Jordan Love inconsistent as well. I'm not gonna lie. slowly and surely, this team is like dropping fast off my power ranking. I know they're 5-1-1, they're 5-2-1, and they still could win their division. But I mean, it's getting ugly right now in Green Bay, and they got to fix whatever's going on with their offense, Joe.
Yeah, this is literally the definition of playing down to your opponent. It's what it is, right? And if you look at like Bryce Young, only threw the ball 20 times. They gave Rico Dowdle 25 touches.
Rico, man.
Josh Jacobs and Rico Dowdle have almost identical yards per carry averages in this game. The difference, Rico Dowdle got 8 more touches. 1 more touchdown. That's the difference. So why is, if you have Josh Jacobs in this offense, 17 carries. 17 carries, 87 yards, 5.1 per. Why are you not handing off the ball more? Why are you not riding Josh Jacobs if the pass game isn't getting you what you need it to do? Right? Why are you not going to your most consistent, best player you have? Josh Jacobs is one of those 20 touches a game kind of guys. Minimum.
Facts.
And you give him 17 carries. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense. And it consistently happens to these teams that for some odd reason forget they have a top 5 running back behind in their backfield. Right? A lot of when we did our preseason running back rankings, Josh Jacobs was either an honorable mention or was number 5 in our top 5 power rankings for running backs coming into the season.
Yep.
And you gave him 17 carries. He was supposed to be what carried your offense into the playoffs when the passing game wasn't going to be working when it got colder. Now you add in the fact that probably one of the better, if not one of the top tight ends this season so far in Tucker Kraft is probably done for the year.
Yeah,
so
it didn't look good.
You look at this team and what has been a really, really good, consistent team in offense with Tucker Kraft, with Josh Jacobs. Romeo Doubs has played pretty well this season. Christian Watson's back. And now injuries are a problem. Your offensive line's inconsistent, and you probably don't have the luxury to lean on Josh Jacobs anymore because that's who they're going to try to take away from you now. No one believes, looking at Jordan Love now, and I don't believe it either, that he's going to be the reason that you lose to the Green Bay Packers. The reason you're going to lose to the Green Bay Packers is going to be Josh Jacobs. So this was a trap game, and I'm glad someone else said it because it 100% was a trap game. They do this all the time. It's a trap game. 100%. Look at their losses. Green Bay has not lost to a team that's worth a shit this season.
That's true, but the problem I have is that the problem I have with this is that they're at home, and for me in Green Bay, I know
it was those dumbass uniforms.
I know it doesn't really I know it doesn't really matter. Trap games happening at home. It doesn't really exist. But in my opinion, and first of all, I don't want to take too much credit away from Carolina at all.
No.
I do want to give them a bit of credit, but this is when you traded for Micah Parsons. When you traded for Micah Parsons, the goal was to be a contending team, and the goal was also to get Jordan Love a consistent weapon room and to get him a consistent, just to be a consistent offense. And if you were a consistent offense, you're probably the best team in football. That has not happened week in, week out. And in my opinion, yet you could call this a trap game. In my opinion, this is a game that the Packers should have taken care of business. That's my opinion. I don't think you can call this a trap game. This is simply a bad loss. It's a bad loss. I don't think this screams trap game to me. I think it's purely a bad loss that is unacceptable, and I think Green Bay should think as much.
Yeah, and it's definitely.
Go ahead.
To your guys' point, I mean, it's definitely a bad loss for Green Bay. This is a game that they should have won. However, Josh is in the comments making really good points about this about this Carolina Panthers run defense. The Panthers run defense is one of the most improved units in the entire NFL, and it's something that I thought was going to be like that this year, especially with Derek Brown coming back. You see all the offseason additions they made to that defensive line. It's been a much improved unit, and then you can pair that with they finally gave Rico Dowdle the reins as like Chuba Hubbard came back. They're like, oh, we're still going with Chuba Hubbard. It's not working. Like when Chuba Hubbard was in, when Rico Dowdle was in, you see a dramatic change in this offense. Rico Dowdle is the better player right now. So you had to give Rico Dowdle the work. You see the difference that Rico Dowdle makes. When Rico Dowdle is getting 20 plus carries a game, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. He has been absolutely dominant when they've given him the workload, and you saw the difference that he made with that offense. So yeah, it was definitely a trap game, and you know it's definitely a great performance by the Carolina Panthers. But I agree with Sammy to a certain extent. I think this is a game that the Green Bay Packers should have won.
So is Chuba Hubbard now possibly on the trade block?
I think
Could definitely.
I think he
definitely
is. But now
definitely
it's
could be on the block.
Yeah, and now it's like the question is who's gonna want that contract.
There's a lot of teams that have some running back holes in there.
A lot of people are forgetting the Panthers paid Chuba Hubbard. Like they paid him. So and they paid him like not a crazy amount of money, but I'm sure not every single team is gonna see that dollar sign and think to themselves, oh yeah, we want to eat up that contract. Not everybody's the Eagles, where they can just pay Saquon Barkley and be a Super Bowl contender anyway because they're a great organization. They're good at drafting. So I think Chuba Hubbard is on the block, but I mean, for how like they might have to if they're gonna trade Chuba Hubbard, the teams are probably not gonna have a crazy asking price given the pick.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to eat some of that salary for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're not using them, right? And it's
Yeah,
8.3 mil a year. There's teams out there that have running back holes right now that could definitely use an extra body in that room. But let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Man.
Yeah. We got to go. We definitely got to move on. And I want to stay in the NFC North because the Minnesota Vikings, led by J.J. McCarthy, upset the Detroit Lions 27-24 in Ford Field. J.J. McCarthy, someone that we criticized all of last week. We made an entire video talking about how big of a mistake that draft pick was. And he didn't look spectacular today. But again, he made enough plays to win the game. So, fellas, what were your thoughts on this Vikings and Lions game today?
I mean, I'll go ahead and go first. Why not? I said a lot of heinous shit about J.J. McCarthy. Allow me to double down.
Crazy stuff, Joe. You did.
Allow me to double down. He didn't look good.
Double down.
He didn't look good. When J.J. McCarthy's on the move, the ball sails on him. He's not as accurate. He got bailed out by there was he had a Justin Jefferson wide open for a first down rolling to his right. That's and great. Sailed the ball a solid 2.5 feet over Justin Jefferson, who barely was able to get a fingertip on it. Even looked at him and was like, bro, I'm right here. Justin Jefferson is a large man with a massive wingspan for a wide receiver, and you missed him. Right? Like we saw that too consistently from J.J. McCarthy. Don't get me wrong. He's clutch, right? When you need to make a play, he seems to be able to make a play. But the rest of his game is not good. A 54.3 QBR, right? Was only bested by the fact that Jared Goff had a 44.2, right? Like this is not good quarterback play. I don't care what anyone says. It's 5.7 average per attempt. He barely cleared the 50% mark, right? 14 to 25. And he still threw a pick in this game. And I saw the pick. It wasn't a good toss. I mean, it was on Jordan Addison's back hip, way behind him, low. And the corner was falling down. He puts it out in front of him. Jordan Addison takes off. So everything you're concerned about with J.J. McCarthy, his accuracy, his ball placement, his ability to throw consistently, is all on display still. Nothing's changed, right? He's not improved. He's not learned, right? He didn't work on any of those intangibles, apparently. You're just really realistically looking at he played just a little bit better than the quarterback across from him. And we've seen bad games from Jared Goff. Like, it's not surprising. So I'm still not sold on J.J. McCarthy as the answer in Minnesota. This was more about the team around him than it was about him. Let's be 100% clear. I mean, when you're literally allowing Aaron Jones to go for 8.7 yards a carry, all right, that's a problem. This Detroit defense was supposed to be legit. And all that we saw in this game was them get trounced for 142 yards on 4.9 a clip. And that's realistically the difference in this game. Was they allowed a running game that has been mediocre all year beat them on their home turf. And think for this little statistical nugget right here, haven't done it in 4 years.
I think that there was so much positive, though. I think there's a lot of positive to get from a win like today for JJ McCarthy, though. And I know there's a lot of work for him to go through. I mean, coming out of the draft, coming out of the draft, we all knew, okay, he was going to sit a year. Kevin O'Connell said, we're going to go with Darnold anyway, I believe. And it worked out. If he hadn't been injured, rather, I do believe that he would have had a more involved role within that offense, especially as a backup. But another thing I think that we need to take away from this is that JJ McCarthy isn't scared of the moment. And I think that means a lot because in the past, Viking QBs, the lights were too bright. For Kirk Cousins in moments, for Sam Darnold, it was too bright. JJ McCarthy, in my opinion, is the first QB in a while to look at the lights and say, it's not that bright for me. And that means something. To go to Detroit, who has been the class of the NFC North, the best division in football, for the first time in 4 years, beat them in Detroit. By the way, JJ McCarthy, 16-0 in Michigan. This guy, look, it means something. It means something, okay? It absolutely means something, and I get it. There's a lot to work on, but there is a foundation. There are flashes, and that's important from a QB that's getting his feet wet. There's clearly things he needs to work on, Joe. I actually agree with everything you said there. But as far as I'm concerned, I like what I see. I like what I see in the clutch. I like what I see. There were some throws that he made, especially in the one throw to Naylor to pretty much end the game. Love that. He's ballsy. Guys, I think JJ McCarthy, there's something to build upon. I'm not completely sold yet. There's still a lot of football that he has to play, but I like what I saw from JJ McCarthy. The first two healthy games he started, he's undefeated, guys. So let's give him some respect.
Yeah, well, I mean, he lost one. I mean, he lost the one to the Falcons, but I mean, he was losing the whole game.
He got hurt
at the end.
He got hurt.
But I mean, JJ McCarthy, again, he's somebody that, we were really critical of him draft time, and he's another one. I said it with Bo Nix, same thing. I said with JJ McCarthy, I said, he went to a good situation. He went to a good situation. He's got weapons. He's got a great offensive mind. But I said the same thing in the video that we did this week on JJ McCarthy. He's the youngest quarterback in football. Like, we got to give him a little bit of time, a little bit of leeway to develop and see what he's got. And again, there's certain parts of his game I don't like. Like I talked about his release. I don't like his release. I think his release takes a long time to get to the, actually get the ball out. I think, he's got a lot of choppy things. He looks spazzy and erratic at times, especially when he gets outside the pocket, but the fact that he can come through in those big situations, the fact that we've seen him do that, we saw him do it in week 1. Obviously we saw him do it in college, and now we saw him do it again here in week 3, or in his third start, I should say, against the Detroit Lions, a big game, his first start in 7 weeks or whatever it was. The fact that he can come out and do something like that, he does deserve his credit. He does deserve his flowers. That doesn't mean I think he's ever going to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but can he develop into a really solid starter that you can win with? Yeah, of course. That's something that JJ McCarthy could definitely develop into. But go for it.
So are we just going to completely just disregard the fact that all of the same things that you guys just said about how give him his flowers, give his time to develop, were the same thing because he's the youngest quarterback in the NFL at the time and all blah, 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 blah. It's the same shit we said about Anthony Richardson, wasn't it?
For sure. Yeah.
And what was Anthony Richardson's biggest problem?
Throwing the ball.
And staying on the fucking field.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that too. But
so no, this is the same thing. Prove me wrong.
This is the same thing. You think it's going to end up
the same thing?
JJ McCarthy can throw. JJ McCarthy can throw way better than Anthony Richardson can.
Let me tell you something.
He's just a better quarterback.
AR should not even have been bro. The fact that he was a top 5 pick to begin with was crazy. Like, there was nothing. All they thought about, it's the same thing that happened with Zach Wilson, ladies and gentlemen. All they saw was the throw power. That's all they saw, the throw power, the fact that he can create. That's all they saw. They didn't see the intangibles. They didn't see the him being able to see the field. There are a lot of questions about McCarthy. But we never had a question about there were questions about where he was drafted, yes, because he was going to be in development. But, bro, the intangibles, he has it. He already has a better arm than AR in terms of, accuracy. Way better. So, in my opinion, it's not close right now. It's not not that it's not close. It's just I think it's a little different, Joe. I don't think it's completely the AR situation.
Yeah, we'll see. And there, like you mentioned, Joe, there are similarities between the two situations, and we talked about them on the video last week. But I would definitely give the edge to JJ McCarthy as far as like who I would put my money on going forward, because I don't know if Anthony Richardson's ever going to get another shot to start in the NFL. But gentlemen, we got 2 games coming up that we have to talk about because it is coming up quick. It's coming up in about 8 minutes. The Seattle Seahawks. This is a low-key big game for both of these teams. The Seattle Seahawks are going on the road to the Washington Commanders. The Commanders are getting Jaden Daniels back after he missed last week with injury, and the Seattle Seahawks are trying to move to 6-2, tied atop the NFC West. So, fellas, Sunday Night Football again. Like I mentioned, this is a big game. If the Washington Commanders lose this game, we talked about it on the I don't know if it was the live or no, it was on our buyers and sellers episode that we did last week that we put out yesterday. Me and Sammy both talked about it. The Commanders could be sellers at the deadline if they lose this game. If they move to 3-6, they're pretty much out of it as far as playoff contention goes, and they might end up sellers. So, fellas, big game for both teams. What do you guys see happening in this Sunday Night Football game?
Man,
it's going to be tough. This is going to be a tough game. I think that, like you said, the Commanders are do or die here a little bit. Sorry, cut you off, Sammy. They got one of my guys, one of the guys I'm happy to see being successful, and Corey Krosky Merritt out there running the football for him. But this is a massive, massive game, and playoff aspirations are on the line for the Washington Commanders here. There's no doubt about it. Don't get it twisted. Their problem is that they're hosting probably one of, if not, easily one of the best teams in the NFC right now. And probably, Seattle, the way they're playing and how they're playing, you're looking at them right now, and they have NFC Championship, if not Super Bowl aspirations going on in Seattle right now. So this is a very, very tough get right game, right? Like, gotta have it game for the Washington Commanders. And I really don't know if they're going to be able to pull this one off. I mean, Jaden Daniels, is he rushing himself back? Is he fully healthy? Like I said, we had this conversation last week where being healthy and being ready is better for your team than rushing yourself out there to get a win, right? And this is a team that has a very good defense, has a very good pass rush, and you're going to go out there. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that, unless he is fully healthy, for sure, good to go, because they're competitors, right? Anyone who's an athlete is a competitor. They want to be out on the field with their guys, right? You have, as a coach, as a medical professional, as ownership, you have to ensure that their competitive nature does not outweigh longevity. It is your responsibility to ensure that that is the case. What are the risks of re-injury? If re-injury happens, what is the timetable for return? Is that risk worth one Sunday night primetime game? I don't know. If he is fully healthy, 100%, I think this is going to be a great game. If Jaden Daniels is not 100%, which we will know very early on in this game if he's 100% or not, then it is definitely concerning for that coaching staff to put him out there and risk the franchise like that.
Yeah, I do think that this is going to be a battle of strengths here. I think we're going to see a great rushing defense face a pretty great rushing offense. This Washington Commanders rushing offense is top 5. So I think that's going to be a big matchup. But I think ultimately, this is one of those games where the Commanders are a wounded dog. Their backs are against the wall. I expect this to be a very, very competitive game. I would not be surprised if this game went to overtime. I think that the Commanders have a very desperate vibe in that arena, a desperate vibe in that locker room. Look, this team went to the NFC Championship game last year, and they're one loss away from being 3-6, and they might be sellers at the deadline, okay? They went all in for this roster, and this Sunday Night Football game is very, very important. It's going to be difficult for the Commanders. I think their biggest priority, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, he's been the best receiver in football the entire year so far.
Oh, well.
Damn.
Apparently, the internet does not like that Jackson Smith and Jigba stuff, and it's probably Matt. Matt probably kicked him because he's like, I will not accept Puka slander in here right now.
Puka?
Yeah,
Puka slander.
Yeah, because
I was cooking too. I was cooking.
No, you weren't. You
I
weren't
was
cooking.
Matt
cooking
kicked
too.
you
What the
because
heck
burning-
happened?
you said
burning the
Jackson
kitchen
Smith and Jig was better than Puka.
Bro,
so
I
Matt
wasn't
kicked you.
burning the kitchen,
I
bro.
wasn't gonna say shit. Don't blame
Creme
me.
Matt
brulee,
kicked you
man.
because you didn't say you said JSN was better than Puka.
I'm
You
innocent.
actually?
No,
I can't even do
Oh,
that. What do you mean? I don't have the power to do
Well,
that.
To be fair, I only said that because Puka's been hurt, and the best ability is availability, and that's why JSN so far has
I
been
love
the best.
that.
Joe's up there starting shit. I didn't say any of this.
I love Puka. I love Puka. He was my pick for offensive player of the year. I love
You're
Puka.
getting mad over nothing right now. This doesn't exist.
It didn't happen. It's not
Bro,
real.
you
I
guys are
gaslit you
gaslighting me
so
right now,
hard.
man.
I gaslit you so hard.
You gaslight me
Yeah.
like crazy, man. Don't do that to me. I'm making a point.
Didn't happen. Yeah, this is crazy. But
Unbelievable.
But to your point, Sammy, this is going to be a very, very competitive game here on Sunday night. Obviously, Commanders need to win really, really bad. Jaden Daniels facing a really, really good defense in Seattle, though. I think, like you mentioned, this is going to be a competitive game. I personally have Seattle winning this one, though. Quickly, Monday Night Football, a matchup between two very mediocre teams. As the 2-5 Arizona Cardinals are going on the road to Josh's 3-4-1 Dallas Cowboys, where, in my opinion, I think this is going to be an upset. To me, I think the Cardinals are going to win this game because Cardinals, very underrated cornerback duo. Max Melton and Will Johnson's going to come back healthy. I think they're going to be able to neutralize those receivers a little bit. And then Jacoby Brissett, for whatever reason, this offense runs a lot better when Jacoby Brissett's the quarterback. And apparently Kyler Murray is going to suit up, but he's not going to start. So are they like soft benching him and letting Jacoby Brissett go? I don't know what's going on there. But to me, I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to move to 3-5 and send the Cowboys to 3-5-1. Fellas, how do you see this Monday Night Football game going?
I see the offense getting what they want against the Cardinals. I do agree that your cornerback room is the cornerback room is very, very underrated. Shout out to Jonathan Gannon, but I do think that the offense is just going to be way too much. Yeah, I do think it's going to be a shootout anyway. I just trust the Cowboys in the shootout more than I trust Jacoby Brissett. So just because of that, I'm going to pick the Cowboys. I don't know if the Cardinals are coming off a bye week, but either way, I have the Cowboys winning in a shootout.
Yeah. I had the Cowboys winning. Now you telling me that Jacoby Brissett's starting, I'm starting to get a little iffy about it right now.
I'm saying
because
Jacoby.
This offense is significantly better with Jacoby Brissett under center, which is probably the first time any team has said that ever.
Maybe the only time that'll ever be said in NFL history.
Yeah.
Only time in history that someone said, yeah, Jacoby Brissett's we're better under center with Jacoby Brissett than our normal starting quarterback. Never happened. That's not a true statement in any other team except for this one. But I'm kind of wondering right now because the Cardinals are at a crossroads in where they're going, and Kyler Murray could be on the move here, fellas. This trade deadline here, suiting up but not starting. You're noticing your offense is running better with a more competent, better passing, more dedicated quarterback. And, there's a lot of teams out there that would love to take a shot with a hyper-athletic, gifted quarterback when he's bought in. But Kyler Murray has consistently not been bought in. Also, do you all know that Battlefield just released a new Battlegrounds for their first-person shooter that they have out right now? So Kyler Murray's definitely not bought in whatsoever. We all know how he waits for those game releases, right? So they probably realized that came out. Kyler Murray wasn't bought in, so they said, we're going to start Jacoby Brissett.
I was gonna say, where's this guy going with this? Like, we don't have time for this shit. He's going off on a random tangent. Yeah, game's about to start. So everyone who tuned in, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you're tuning in afterwards, we also appreciate you. Again, all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna be doing these every Friday, every Sunday, everything. And